Good afternoon. Thank you all for joining us. My name is Chris Buckley, and I'm part of the I-405 Improvement Project Community Outreach Team. I'd like to thank you for joining us today for this online meeting. I'll be providing a brief update on the project and on activities coming up at the Brookhurst Street Bridge. Normally, we hold these meetings on Saturday mornings, set up tables with our materials and donuts and coffee. However, in response to current circumstances, we are conducting our neighborhood meetings online. First, just a little bit of housekeeping. If you get disconnected, hit the reconnect button. And I'll begin in a few moments with the presentation, which will be followed by a Q&A session. Feel free to submit your questions at any time during the presentation using the chat box there. I'll start off the Q&A by answering those questions and then take any additional questions that come after that. Again, you should see a chat box on the right side of your screen, and you can use that area to submit your questions. Also, under the Files section, you'll see several PDFs. These include our project fact sheet, the bridge map and fast facts, which is a great tool, an FAQ for the Brookhurst Street Bridge, and information about the 405 express lanes. Now, feel free to download these resources at any time during the presentation. Under the Offers section, you'll find a link to sign up for project alerts. You can sign up for project-wide alerts if you don't receive them already, and you can sign up for bridge-specific alerts. Those go out when we have major activities at any of the bridges, such as the start of a new phase of work or demolition of a bridge. We'll also be conducting a few instant polls during the presentation, so please participate in those when you see them pop up. Also, we'll be sending out an electronic survey after the meeting, and we'd really appreciate your feedback. Joining me for this discussion is Nikki Wright, who will be broadcasting the questions. And I'd also like to acknowledge additional team members who are working in the background to keep the webinar running smoothly. They include Asia Stansell, Jessica Stock, and Anna Finlay. They'll be managing your questions and communicating with the audience through the chat box. Finally, I wanted to let you know that the meeting is being recorded and will be available from our project website within the next 24 hours. If you missed something or you know someone who couldn't join us tonight, you can head over to bit.ly/405webinar-Brookhurst. That's bit.ly/405webinar-Brookhurst tomorrow and check out the video. Now, please take a moment to participate in our first poll. We'd like to know how you found out about this meeting. Thank you. All right, I'd like to provide a brief overview and a status of the project. And then I'm going to shift to the first slide here. And then we will move into an update on the Brookhurst Bridge. So in this slide on the left, you can see the project limits are from approximately State Route 73 in Costa Mesa to Interstate 605 in Seal Beach. That's a length of about 16 miles. On the right, you'll see that one regular lane will be added in each direction of the 405. That's consistent with Measure M, as shown in yellow. An additional lane will be added in each direction that will combine with the existing carpool lane to provide dual express lanes from SR 73 to I-605, as shown in green. Now I'd like to talk a little bit about the project benefits. We are, as part of this project, replacing 18 bridges. We are adding a connector between State Route 73 and 405 for the express lanes explicitly. And we're widening several bridges over roads like Beach Boulevard, Harbor Boulevard, and a couple of railroad crossings as well. All of the interchanges are going to be reconfigured. I'll talk a little bit more about Brookhurst's reconfiguration later on in the presentation. There are merge lane improvements. We're making improvements to arterial streets. We're replacing a lot of sound walls throughout the project. We're building approximately 170 walls total. There'll be new bike lanes and sidewalks on most of the bridges, actually on every bridge, except at the very north end of the project. We will only have sidewalk on one side of the Bolsa Chica Bridge. This is a 6-year design build project. That means design and construction happen concurrently. Design is just about completed though, and we are about 40% of the way through the construction schedule as it stands. And the cost of the project is approximately $1.9 billion. So now I want to talk a little bit about the bridge map. This is a document that we've included in the file section. It's a bridge map and fast facts. If you see that, it's actually a 2-page document. On the front is a map like what you can see here, and it shows a graphic that represents what year construction is anticipated to begin for each bridge within the project limits, and whether that bridge is a 1-stage or 2-stage bridges. 2-stage bridges are open to traffic during construction. The second sheet on the PDF that you have in the resources section, in the file section, details bridge by bridge the improvements that are going to be included in the new bridges. So it tells you whether it's going to go from X number of lanes to, from 4 to 6, talks about whether there are existing bike lanes or sidewalks in each direction, and what we have new. So it's a good resource. So at this point, we've begun construction on the bridges shown in blue and purple. One of those, Slater, has been completed, as you know. Of the other bridges under construction, 3 are 1-stage, 3 are widenings, and 6 are 2-stage bridges. And then we'll have another one under construction here soon. As I mentioned, Brookhurst, we will also have the Edinger Bridge under construction soon. At this point, I'd like to provide a bit of a construction update. These next several slides show activities from the last several months. More than 70 walls are under construction or completed. These 2 photos reflect some of the aesthetic patterns being placed on retaining walls and sound walls. This slide shows the Santa Ana River Bridge, which spans both the river and Euclid Street in Fountain Valley. This bridge is being widened using precast concrete girders. This slide here shows drainage being installed in the photo on the left, and the reinforcing steel for a concrete barrier and concrete pavement in the photo on the right. These photos show bridge construction at Talbert Avenue and Westminster Boulevard. The photo on the left is of the false work at Talbert Bridge. We've advanced beyond that point. False work there is complete at this point, and they will begin in the near future pouring the actual superstructure of the bridge. The photo on the right shows the placement of reinforcement steel that's inside the Westminster Bridge. All bridges are built this way. There's just a ton of steel reinforcement bar that goes in there. They pour the concrete, and it forms this bridge that lives up to current standards. Now I just want to look ahead a little bit for bridge construction. As you can see, and as I mentioned before, the project construction is more than 40% complete. The design builder has anywhere from 700 to 1,000 workers actively involved in the project on any given day. We've opened the first halves of Magnolia Street Bridge, Bolsa Chica Road Bridge, and Golden West Street Bridge, and we did that earlier this year. And work on the second halves of those bridges has begun. Work also is well underway to reconstruct the Howell Avenue pedestrian overcrossing. You'll see some activity there on the southbound side of the freeway in the coming weeks when they install a large cast-in drilled hole pile. That's where they basically install this steel casing and excavate out the dirt that's within it and put a rebar cage, a reinforcement steel bar cage inside that casing, and then pour concrete in. And it's one of a couple of different ways to create the foundation for bridges, for bridge sides and bridge center columns. In the coming weeks, the McFadden Avenue and Bouchard Street bridges are expected to fully open to traffic. I'll talk more about Bouchard in a second. And then work is set to begin on the Brooker Street Bridge, as we'll talk about today. And toward the end of the year, we expect the first phase of the Westminster Boulevard Bridge to open and the second phase to begin. And looking into next year, Talbert Avenue Bridge is expected to fully open to traffic in spring. And that'll be followed by demolition and reconstruction of the Ward Street Bridge. In addition, we anticipate the first phases of the Fairview Road and Bolsa Avenue bridges to open and work to begin on the second phases. Right now, I'd like to talk a little bit about Brookhurst. I'm going to take a sip of water first, though. So OCTA and the contractor are always looking for ways to advance the schedule, the construction schedule, right? And we've worked closely with the City of Fountain Valley on this. We've worked closely with all of our city partners, as well as Caltrans. As part of this effort, the city has agreed that we can begin work on Brookhurst after the Bouchard Street Bridge is completed. Bouchard is set to open on Monday, this coming Monday, October 12th. Now, initially, the plan was to begin Brookhurst after both Bouchard Street and Talbert Avenue bridges were completed. As part of this scheduled advancement effort, an analysis was done on the impacts to traffic of constructing the first phase of Brookhurst concurrently with completing construction at Talbert. That analysis showed that concurrent construction would be feasible with Bouchard open and with signal timing adjustments at area intersections. And the overlapping construction is only expected to be for a few months. As again, I mentioned earlier, the Talbert Bridge is anticipated to open in spring of 2021. It's also important to note that Brookhurst is a two-stage bridge that will be open to traffic during construction. There will be 2 lanes open in each direction for the duration of work on that bridge. The anticipation is that each phase will take approximately 16 months to complete. So 16 months for each phase of Brookhurst. That's a conservative estimate, but we've learned over the last couple of years that we need to be conservative because there are a lot of things that can impact the construction schedule. As you probably have noticed, some work has begun on Brookhurst to prepare for a traffic shift. That's coming up Monday, just after Bouchard opens. So traffic on that bridge is going to be shifted to the west side, and that'll allow crews to create a work zone for the first phase of work. I'm going to bring up an image of Bouchard that I have. It's actually just Google Maps, so bear with me. All right, so this is the Brooker Interchange. I just want to make sure everybody can see it. And as I mentioned, there is some activity going on right now, as you can see if you're out there, where they've removed the center median, right? That's the entire center median through here, and they're removing it all the way through the entire bridge. And the plan is ultimately to shift traffic to the west side of the bridge, right here, all the way through here, and there'll be 2 lanes of traffic in each direction. As part of the work that's going to occur, this is going to occur on Monday night into Tuesday morning. As part of that work, these loop off ramps here are going to be eliminated. That's this one here, and then this one up here, right? So those ramps get eliminated, and meanwhile, they'll have temporary ramps here where you'll come off and you'll be able to turn either left or right. Actually, I apologize. Only left from this ramp. This straight portion of the ramp stays, so you'll be able to go northbound on Brookhurst. But we're putting this extra temporary ramp in here so you can turn left and go southbound on Brookhurst. The same activity will be occurring here. So by the time everything opens up on Tuesday morning, you want to exit. You'll be exiting the freeway southbound here, and you'll be able to turn left and go with traffic go northbound on Brookhurst. So again, these 2 ramps here will be eliminated, this one and this one up here. And that's to allow for a safe movement of traffic and for construction of this side of the bridge. They're creating a work area to do this side of the bridge. This loop on ramp remains, and you'll still have access to that. It'll be slightly realigned, and you'll be making a little bit sharper turn here to get on. And the same applies here. I don't think there are any changes to this ramp though, but this ramp stays open as well. Clear that activity. Come back to actually, I'm going to leave this up, but I'm going to mention a couple of other things as we move through here. If you notice on the slide, I was talking about sort of the demolition is the activity that's going to come next. So once traffic has been shifted, there will be a few days of pre-demolition work. That includes poking holes in the bridge deck and removing what's known as lost deck. That's the wood forms used during the initial construction of the bridge back in the 1960s. So when you're doing bridge construction, the superstructure itself that you're driving on, it's not this monolithic piece of concrete and steel. That would be too heavy and it wouldn't be supportable. So there are cells that are created within the bridge, and wooden forms are used to create those cells. And then the iron, the steel bars are put in there, and then the concrete is poured around those cells. So you have these open spaces in the bridge, and that allows everything to work, that allows the bridge to be supportable. So once they remove that wood, because they don't want it to mix in with the demolished material, because the demolished material is actually recycled. Not the steel, but the concrete is taken to a batch plant nearby, and that's recycled. So they don't want to mix wood in with that. So once that work is done, then the first half of the bridge will be demolished. The plan is for that work to occur over 2 weekends. First on the night of October 17th, and then again on the night of October 24th. These are tentative dates, but that's the plan at this point. On these nights, the bridge spans over the freeway are what will be demolished, and that's under full freeway closures and a Brookhurst closure as well. So the Brookhurst bridge will be closed for that work. A demolition of the sides of the bridge, known as abutments, as well as the center columns and the median barrier, will be demolished at night and during the day under freeway lane closures during this time. Only freeway lane closures will occur at night, so they'll only take them when they need to. Caltrans doesn't allow us to close freeway lanes during the daytime at this point. So if they need the room to get in, an excavator of some sort, or a breaker, or trucks to haul out material, they'll close off lanes, and that work will have to be done at night. But a lot of extra demolition work can be done behind K-rail during the day. That additional demolition work, aside from the big activities that happen on the 2 Saturday nights, that takes several weeks. So there'll still be demolition going on for quite a while of the old bridge. After demolition, the general process is to build the sides of the bridge abutments. Those are the concrete structures supporting each side of the bridge. And they build the bridge center columns. As part of that building work, they have to construct the foundation of the bridge. That includes sometimes placing large piles of dirt where the bridge abutments, where the sides are going to go. And that's to compress the earth beneath it to ensure that there's no settling once the bridge is constructed. And then they'll excavate out that dirt after the settlement period is over, and they'll start with pile driving. You probably have noticed this on several of the other bridges if you live in the area. They install several piles under the foundation, as part of the foundation, under the abutments and under the center columns of the bridge. Then they build those sides and center columns. Then they build the superstructure that includes the bridge deck. Then they build the horizontal bridge component, what are called the bridge approaches, right? So this is the connector between the abutments and the actual bridge structure itself. And then they have to pave the roadway. They work on the barriers on the bridge. They work on the sidewalks, any kind of electrical work, curb and gutter, all of that. And then you've got a completed bridge. Again, about 16 months is the anticipation for that first phase. Once that's completed, we will shift traffic onto that new bridge, and work will begin on the second phase of Brookhurst. And again, expected to take another 16 months. So now I want to talk about the bridge design a little bit. These bridges are having to be replaced because they're 4-span bridges. The new bridges are all 2-span bridges, pretty much. In the case of Brookhurst, it might be additional, but currently the columns that support the bridge, there are 3 sets of columns, 1 in the middle and 2 on the outside. Those 2 outside sets of columns need to be removed because they're in the way of the widening, which is why we have to rebuild this bridge and all the others. In doing that, we create a 2-span bridge that is both sort of longer, wider, and a little bit taller. And in the case of bridge design here, what I want to talk about, you see on your screen, you see on your screen Brookhurst, and what you have is this loop off-ramp scenario, right? And when they close these for the traffic shift, that's a permanent closure. These off-ramps are not coming back. What's going to happen is, I'm going to clear this. What's going to happen is this off-ramp is going to be reconstructed here, and it is going to come here to a T intersection, and you'll be able to turn left or turn right from this off-ramp. These loop-on ramps will remain the same. Again, it'll be the same over here, where it'll come to a T intersection. You'll be able to turn right or turn left, and that's the final sort of permanent condition of the bridge. This slip ramp will be removed. This slip ramp will be removed. That's actually safer for motorists, bicyclists, pedestrians. Many of you I know have exited Brookhurst here, as I have, tried to get over to the left lane to turn left on Slater, and you're merging with a bunch of vehicles, maybe with a pedestrian you have to be watching out for, or bicyclists. This new design, it's not that new, but the implementation of this type of design is to address that merging and weaving issue, and to address frankly, the increase in traffic that we have on our streets and highways. So that's the main sort of element there. I'm going to come back. I'm going to stop sharing this, and we're going to go back to we'll turn the whiteboard off, and we will come back to Nikki and to me. The next thing I just really want to talk about, I'm going to put the slideshow back on if I can, Nikki. All right. So I went through this list of items. I want to talk a little bit about our engagement strategies. As you can see, we connect with the community in several ways. Many of you probably receive a lot of our communications already. We do it in print and electronically. And while we prefer face-to-face discussions for major updates like this, we will be continuing to conduct these meetings virtually for the foreseeable future. We strongly encourage you to sign up for bridge-specific updates by clicking on the link under the Offers tab. Meanwhile, please make use of our interactive map at octa.net/405map. and download our mobile app on the App Store or on Google Play. You can also find us, of course, on social media, and if you have a specific question or concern, you call our project helplines or email us at 405project@octa.net. If we don't have an answer for you, we'll work with our colleagues on the technical team to get you one. All right, and that leads me to my second poll question. What is the best way for you to get construction updates? So if you could take a moment to fill out that instant poll, that would be terrific. And then with that, I'd like to begin the Q&A portion of the meeting. And Nikki, if I may ask, see what I have here. Keep our project contact information up. I can bring other things up as needed. But if we could start with the first questions.
Absolutely. We just have a few so far. Ty asked, when will the sound wall go up at the Talbert Brookhurst site? I'm broadcasting that now.
Got it. I'm not exactly sure which sound wall. There are so many. So it would be good for us, Ty, is if you could email us directly with your address so we can locate what specifically the sound wall is that you're interested in. And then we can provide you that detail. We can provide you that information directly to you.
Okay, our next question is from Mike regarding the McFadden Bridge.
Right, Mike says, what exact date is McFadden anticipated to open? So the only dates I'm comfortable with right now are the ones on October 12th, when it looks everything is on schedule, the striper included, for Bouchard to open. That's October 12th. And then the anticipation, according to the contractor, is that then we will move to work on Brookhurst. I'm going to say that we're really prepping for just right around mid-October, right? So you can guess which day that is for the McFadden opening. You follow us on social media. We're talking a little bit about it via some videos that we have. We're really excited about it opening, but I can't give you an exact date at this point. But I will say mid-October.
Okay, and Daniel had a question.
All right, Daniel says, with a left... Yeah, sorry about that, Nikki. Didn't mean to talk over you. Daniel says, with a left turn lane to exit the freeway, will that mean a traffic light, right? Won't that cause freeway traffic to stack up? No. So yes, it will mean a traffic light, I should say. Yes, in both cases. So the ramps, the off-ramps at both new off-ramps are going to be wider, have more lanes, and have the capacity to carry the off-ramp traffic. So there won't be any backup onto the freeway. All of this was studied during the environmental phase of the project and finalized in the design phase of the project. Caltrans is with us every step of the way on that process. They have to sign off on all elements of the design, and they ensure that they look at not just traffic that is current, but they're projecting into a future build year, a plan year, 2035, 2040, I believe it is. So this will accommodate traffic well into the future.
Okay. And I think Darlene was responding for Ty. I think this is Darlene, Miss D'Angelo, who we've spoken with several times before. And the address is on San Rafael Street for that sound wall.
Gotcha. I believe that activity, we'll have to check to be sure, but I believe that activity is happening sometime in 2021. I don't have specific details, but again, just send us an email with your address and we can walk you through the anticipated construction schedule. There is a sound wall that stretches from Talbert, and it looks like, sorry, let me come back. It looks like Ken is asking the same question. This is the sound wall that extends, sorry, bear with me while I share my screen again. All right, and if I'm not mistaken, the question is regarding the sound wall between Talbert and Brookhurst, and we're talking about all the way along here. And I think the sound wall ends about here, and then there is a separate retaining wall that continues here. If that's the wall that you all are talking about, again, I believe that's 2021. We don't have specifics. I don't have them memorized, but we will try to get a more specific schedule for you from the contractor and get back to you about that.
So I think the whiteboard drawing is off a little bit. I'm not sure if you can see that.
It doesn't look like it to me, but
okay.
We're talking the wall on the northbound side between Talbert and Brookhurst.
Yeah, along the freeway there.
Correct, along the freeway. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And our next question is from Min.
Sure. Min says, how many lanes will the off-ramp exit have? Brookfirst exit 405 northbound. You know, I'm going to work. I actually can bring that up for you. Give me a second. But meanwhile, if there's another question that we want to bring up, I'll take a look at that as well. Actually, I have the information here, so Min, I can answer that for you. And I'm going to answer both directions. So let me orient this correctly. Yep, the northbound off-ramp is going to have 4 lanes, 2 left turn lanes and 2 right turn lanes. So that's the northbound off-ramp. And the southbound off-ramp will be identical to that. So each of the off-ramps will have 2 left turn and 2 right turn lanes. Thank you, Min.
Okay, our next question is from Tom.
Right. Tom says, I noticed closure of Talbert increased traffic on Brookhurst and Slater significantly. Will opening Bouchard relieve this at all, or are we anticipating further traffic impacts due to the Brookhurst construction? Opening Bouchard will ease this. Yes, definitely. So there's an analysis done of the impacts to traffic when we have this concurrent work going on between Brookhurst and Talbert. And we do anticipate that Bouchard opening will ease some of that. In addition, we've got a team known as the Maintenance of Traffic Team, the MOT team, and their job is to look at all the intersections surrounding the project and ensure that they are maximized, right? So they'll look at the signal phasing, and make adjustments to that in coordination with the city and ensure that we've maximized the potential for all of those intersections. In addition, the team is out there on a regular basis evaluating the conditions. So they're not just relying on data, they're out there looking at what's going on. They do receive data because we receive data from all the loops in the roadway, right? So any of the traffic loops you see, we're receiving that data as well. But we're also out in the field analyzing the situation, seeing what's occurring. Recently, we had an issue where the city had a project that they were working on Brookhurst, I believe Brookhurst, and on the Slater side, I think, and it was in coordination with our efforts to restripe to create this sort of work area, to demolish the median and then create this work area. And we had to shift quickly to address that because there was some backup that was created by that. And I believe that was a couple weeks back. So we're always out there looking and trying to make some adjustments and coordinating with the city as well. Thank you for that.
Ken has a question about the wall. I think this is the same wall that we just discussed.
Yes, Ken. So I believe that wall, actually it's 3 walls. It will look as 1 wall though, of course. But again, I believe the construction of those walls are anticipated for 2021. I'm not exactly sure what the time frame is. We will be responding to this group. We'll be sending out a response to questions we don't have answers for during this meeting after we talk to the technical team, and we'll include that question in our Q&A that comes out of this, and we'll make sure that everybody gets the answer to that. Thank you.
And Louise had a question.
Louise asks, how safe are the bridges if there is an earthquake? So the bridges are built to the latest design standards. These are Caltrans standards, and they really need to be able to withstand a sizable earthquake. I'd have to get the exact specifics for you, but there's a lot of steel involved. These are very strong, and structurally, the structural integrity of these bridges is really good. Much better than the ones, of course, that were, because so many advances over the last 60 years, right? And we're talking about bridges that are about 60 years old, the current ones.
And Min also had a question about the sound wall. I just wanted to mention that we got your question, Min, and it's the same question, so we'll make sure to include that in our FAQs. And then Mike has a question.
Mike, yes. Will there be signage to use Bouchard Street as an alternate, since Brookhurst tends to have a very high traffic flow, as seen over the past week or two, in which Mike says he's encountered significant delays? Yes, a fantastic question. Yes, there will be detour signage in place. In addition, our team will be constantly pushing out detour information through our social media channels, through email, in our construction alerts. So please, I encourage you to sign up for those. In addition, one of the best tools that you can use is our interactive map. And that's at octa.net/405 map. And that map includes all of the detour. These are approved city detours, right? So prior to the project starting, there was a transportation management plan developed, and that transportation management plan was a partnership between the city, all the cities, Caltrans and OCTA. And in it, it has approved detours. We include all those detours in our interactive map. In addition, we supply the detour information directly to Waze. So Waze doesn't use crowdsourced information for detours related to this project. They use the information we provide, which is a tremendous advantage. And I think it's one of the first partnerships of its kind. So if you use the navigation app, if people use that navigation app, they will be directed to use the appropriate roadways. That is not to say, though, that people won't continue to use Brookhurst. It is open, both lanes, 2 lanes in each direction, so it will get used, but there will be alternatives that will be notified. People will be notified of. Thank you for that question.
And Yoshi had a question.
Terrific. Yoshi says, is there a document or website page that features diagrams or drawings of the proposed traffic changes, such as the drawings throughout this presentation? Thank you for your work. Thank you very much. Drawings or diagrams? No, we don't have that the plans are huge, right? Because we're talking about 16 miles of roadway, interchanges, bridge designs. So what we can do, if you have any interest in that, aesthetics as well. If you have any interest in that, shoot us an email, tell us what you're looking for. We go to the technical team and they will give us a couple of PDFs with what you're looking for. Some people are interested in what the aesthetics will look like, and we can always share those. We can share anything, right, to show you what's going on. But it's not something that we have sort of cataloged on a website somewhere. Thank you for that question, Yoshi.
And Min has another question.
Terrific. Min says, my house is next to the Brookhurst off-ramp, 405 northbound. Okay. Will the ramp move closer to my house due to it being widened to 4 lanes? Min, that's a great question. We're going to need your exact address to be able to answer that question. And I'm trying to see here. That's northbound, so that's the other direction. I happen to have some ramp information here. And it looks like, so it's all going to be within the Caltrans right-of-way. I'm going to share this screen with you, and this might go to Yoshi's question as well, asking about plans. These are the kinds of things that we look at. So give us a second here. So I'm going to share this. And hopefully you all can see this here. And I don't think I'm able to zoom in too closely. But this is the new off-ramp from Northbound, right? And team, tell me if I'm missing something, okay? These light gray lines, well, these dark gray lines, this marks the new ramp. The light gray lines, and let me see if I can zoom in a little bit, and I might need to reshare the screen. It looks like it's zooming in, maybe a little bit too much. All right. So these light gray lines, you can see, are the original off-ramp. So the off-ramp is being widened a little bit to the right here. And the existing on-ramp, you can see it's changing too. The new on-ramp will be a little bit of a tighter loop. The old one, you can see, is sort of under here. I'll try to zoom in a little bit more to give you a sense of the difference between the two. Right. So you can see, here's the existing off-ramp, for example, these light gray lines, right? And here's the new one. So it's going to be a little bit wider, coming right to the right-of-way. This is the channel that's right behind the state right-of-way. Here's the on-ramp, and you can see here the light gray lines are the existing on-ramp, and you can see it's going to tighten up and change just a little bit. And I hope this is sort of helpful for folks. And you can kind of see over here on the right side, you probably don't know what I'm pointing at because I don't have my whiteboard on, but you can see sort of on the right side, here's where, you know, houses are. I believe this black line indicates, I'm not sure what that indicates, to tell you the truth, but I know the right-of-way line is in here, right? So you can see, as I was talking about, I'm going to clear that. And then show you again. So these dark lines right here, these are the new lanes for the off-ramp, right? You've got 1, 2, my drawing is terrible here, 3. There must be a 4th one here, sorry. So there you go, those are the 4 lanes, right? And you've got a wall that's right here. This is indicative of a retaining wall that's gonna be built here to support it. So it may come a little closer, but not too much closer to the house. And these lanes are typically 12 feet, right? So we're talking about 12 feet with a 10-foot shoulder. This is a 10-foot shoulder right here. I hope that helps, Min. And again, we can share this with you a little bit more clearly, via email, over email.
And Min, you messaged us with your address. I don't want to broadcast that to the whole group, but we will send you an email. If you want to also send us your email in the message, it's private, so that we can give you that information. Excellent. I don't see any other questions. I know it takes a few minutes to type them in, so we'll just wait for some more to come in.
Terrific. These are all great questions. If you have not, many of you may live close to the, Talbert Bridge, or may live close to the Bouchard Bridge, Slater Bridge, things like that. So you may have been aware of a lot of the activities that have happened and sort of how this process goes with the demolition and reconstruction. It is pretty amazing to watch the demolition, to see a bridge be taken down so quickly. They use what are called breaker hammers on the end of excavators, and these are pneumatic hammers that just punch away at the concrete. You may not expect to get a lot of sleep that night, but it's an amazing sight. The iron workers are up there using acetylene torches to cut down the rebar. All of that is taken off site and managed, and it all happens very quickly. It's amazing. The process starts actually by the crews come in, dump trucks full of dirt, and they lay about 2 foot thick pad of dirt because the dropping concrete rebar, they don't want that to damage the existing freeway. But from the time they drop the dirt to picking it up the next day, usually it can be anyway 10, sometimes 11 hours, somewhere about 10 hours or so. But it's amazing to see them work at this. They're very proficient. And they move very quickly. They do that over the course, as I mentioned, of 2 weekends, and there are some other activities that take place, in between and following to do additional demolition work, and then you start to see the new bridge. There are a couple of months of waiting while the settlement fill is in place to really compress that earth beneath. I don't know if there actually is a settlement period needed for the foundation of the Brookhurst Bridge. That's something we'll check into. Sometimes they don't need it. And then when they start the pile driving, it is quite loud, of course. Usually that can go relatively quickly, I say, within a month or two. And then once that's done, then they put a cap of concrete on that. They build up the sides of the bridge. They may shift traffic to outside lanes. They'll build new roadway pavement on the outside, shift traffic to make room on the inside of the freeway for the center columns. It's amazing to watch this go up. And then once you see that falsework structure, it's both steel beams, wooden beams put in place, and then they do the formation of those cells inside, do the rebar that's going to be part of the bridge. They pour that concrete. It is amazing to see this come up in virtually 16 months. It's not no time at all, but it's an amazing feat.
So Min did have one more question about
yes.
to that wall. That might be something we have to include in our email to you, Min.
Yeah, Min, I don't have that memorized on that wall. We'll take a look at that. I do know it's decently high because I believe the ramp height is up a little bit there. I remember seeing some information about it recently, but I just don't recall. So we'll get that information for you and try to provide you as much detail as possible.
And then Ken had a question.
Yes. So Ken says, how much delay did the fire on the northbound side of the Talbert Bridge falsework introduce? It was a couple of months, few months delay. It has added to it. In addition, when we first talked about the Talbert Bridge, we talked about it being a year bridge. One of the lessons that we've learned as on the outreach team is initially we were told by our technical counterparts that a one-stage bridge takes approximately 12 months and a two-stage bridge takes approximately 24 months. So we rolled with that. Our biggest error when it came to notifying the public about that was with McFadden. We said it would take about a year. The reality on McFadden is it was really more about 15, 16 months. We had a number of issues that created some delays, and we're up on better than 2 years, as you all know, on that bridge if you haven't seen it. And we aren't happy about that. The contractor's not happy about that. The cities are not happy about it. Nobody is. But we've been working as quickly as we can on that bridge. With respect to Talbert, turns out that too was more of a 15-month bridge or so. So not really 12 months. And therefore, with the fire, that added some delay. We've had a few questions regarding the Talbert Bridge and a retaining wall that's being constructed on the, if I think it through, it's the westbound side of Talbert, on the north side of Talbert prior to crossing over the freeway. We've gotten questions lately about, hey, what's the status of constructing that wall? And one of the things that we've dealt with in the project lately because of COVID and because of the fires is a delay in getting some materials, including cement, which is a component of concrete. Luckily, we were able to sort of rectify that, and we've moved forward with the Bouchard Bridge and McFadden Bridge, but it has delayed getting what are called MSE panels, which are being used to build that retaining wall on the side of the Talbert Bridge. So that's adding a little bit more delay. Those MSE panels, when you look at a bridge, there are a couple of ways to build a retaining wall. One is to construct it like a traditional wall that you might see in your side yard, where you create a footing, and that footing could be anything. It could be a spread concrete footing. It could be a cast and drilled hole footing, which is what the one is for Talbert. That's where they drill this big hole, they put a rebar cage in, they pour concrete in, and then they build a wall on top of that. And the wall is made up of rebar, and forms are placed and concrete is poured to form that wall. The one for Talbert is a little bit different. It's called an MSE wall, mechanically stabilized earth. And the way that's formed is basically putting together these puzzle pieces, if you will, of these preformed concrete cast panels that are placed one on top of the other, and they are secured on the other side of the wall so that you can't see it, but they're secured with these steel straps that go horizontally across the roadway section, and then dirt is brought in on top, and that creates this tension system that keeps the wall up against the dirt that's constantly filling it up, right? So on the other side, you've got nothing. You've got just regular lawn. And in fact, we have houses here on Talbert off of La Despensa. Some of you may live in that community. But you've got this other sort of tensioning system that goes, and they keep doing layers and layers. Well, those panels, those concrete panels, are delayed. The manufacturer of those panels is having a problem getting the cement to create the concrete. And so that's a little bit behind. So all of these things go into creating, constructing the project, and all of these sorts of delays. We've had to become really accustomed to talking the public through this because it's frustrating, right? Talbert was supposed to be done in a year, and you said it was going to be done, and it's not. And we've just learned so much as we go through the process. So thank you for that.
And Yoshi has another question.
Sure. Yoshi is asking, hey, we've noticed that the 405 South entrance has a lot of traffic in the morning around 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Will this project help improve that congestion? I think this is going to be off of Brookhurst. That's going to be the loop on-ramp, right? The loop on-ramp to southbound 405. I hope that's what you're talking about. If there are issues there, it's likely, I think the anticipation is that as we move down to 2 lanes in each direction and we shift traffic on Brookhurst, that motorists will find their ways to some of the other interchanges that are available to them to get on the freeway. It's a little difficult because there's not a lot that's that close to Brookhurst. Obviously, as you all know, I think the closest one south is at Euclid. So, a lot of opportunity to sort of move and adjust. People will need to adjust. I think we'll find over the course of about 2 weeks to a month that traffic will adjust to the situation. And meanwhile, we will notify the maintenance of traffic team about the concern that you've brought up so that they can go take a look and see what's going on in that time frame and see if there's anything that can be done to adjust. It could be that a ramp meter is on that shouldn't be, or something like that, some adjustment that we can make to ease that congestion. I want to step back on Yoshi's comment. It's super important. There are 6 of us on this outreach team who are the sort of primary on the team. And then we've got several folks who support us and we've got the technical team, but we don't have enough eyes out there. We're not driving the project in the same way that you are every single day. We are out there driving it. We're absolutely trying to understand the situation, but there's so much going on, and there are a few of us. So the more information you can share with us about what you're seeing out there, the better, because we take that, we go right to the technical team and say, hey, what can we do? And if we can do something, we'll do it. And if we can't, we'll let you know. So appreciate the comment. Mike says, thank you for your time to keep us updated. It's been very helpful. Happy to do that, Mike. We know, normally we try to hold these meetings a little bit earlier than a few days before a traffic shift, a major activity that's going on, like the one that's coming up. But we needed to get clarification from our project partners and the technical team about the activity coming up for Bouchard and Brookhurst. We wanted to have all that buttoned up as much as possible. So we appreciate your patience, in sort of hearing this information a little bit later than normal, but very much appreciate that you are online with us. Thank you.
And Daniel had a question as well.
Daniel, when will the Brookhurst Bridge construction be completed? So the best I can give you is that each phase of the bridge will be approximately 16 months. That is a conservative estimate. So 32 months, we are talking about, a good amount of time. Obviously, 2.5 years, about that amount of time. Brookhurst is one of the major bridges structures on the project. There's a lot that goes into it, so it's going to be quite some time that it is under construction. We hope it's sooner than that, but that is what we have at this time. I will mention that generally the first and second stage of a bridge, they're concurrent. Consecutive, not concurrent, consecutive. One follows the other. I don't know what the schedule is for Brookhurst. I don't know what the anticipation is. But again, regardless of the situation, if it doesn't start right after, if phase 2 doesn't start right after phase 1, we'll still have 2 lanes of traffic open in each direction, as I said, through the duration of construction.
And we don't have any other questions to go through as of right now. It takes a little time for people to think of them and type them in.
And if you think of something afterward, right? If you come up with a question and you thought, oh, I should have asked that question, send us an email. Tell us you were part of the meeting. We can include it in the Q&A if it applies to everybody. So no problem. We are here for you. We've been here for the last 2.5 years. We'll be here for, let's see, the next couple years. 2021 is actually going to be a very big year, I think, for a lot of bridges opening, a lot of work being completed on the project. So we're really excited, for this next year and a few months here.
And Tom had a question.
Tom is asking, is there a website with a published overall project schedule? So what we have is our bridge map. That gives you the information about when bridges begin. The project is anticipated to be completed in 2023, and it's important that we finish in that year. But no, we don't have a specific website that shows an overall project schedule. We talk about these bridges. There's so many shifts in the bridges, just like we have today with the advancement by 5 months of Brookhurst starting 5 or 6 months or so. Just like Slater, for example, was a 2-stage bridge turned into a 1-stage bridge. We have the same thing up at the other end of the project where Edwards, the north end, is a 1-stage bridge now. It originally started as a 2-stage bridge. So it doesn't really serve a good purpose to put out an overall schedule of the project or schedule of activities. Things change, not just on a macro scale, but on a micro scale. There might be a delay, like I talked about earlier with building these MSE panels. There might be rain that affects it. That's all absorbed into the schedule, though, because we're always, again, looking for these ways to advance the schedule. But no, we don't have a specific website that shows the overall schedule.
We don't have any other questions right now. Do we have any other polls that we need to share with everyone?
In fact, we do have one last poll. I do want to say thank you all for taking the time to be with us this evening. The contact slide is up, or it's not up. We'll actually put it up right now just so you have that. Let's see here.
And while you do that, we did get one more question from Tom.
Sure.
He's asking, do we have any insight into how bridge demo and construction order was prioritized?
Yes, we do. That's a great question. Yes, it was done in coordination with Caltrans and with the cities. And it was essentially, the driving factor was that TMP that I mentioned earlier, right? The traffic management plan. How to keep traffic flowing through the project area and through the cities, the partner cities, while demolishing and reconstructing 18 overcrossings, a multitude of bridge widenings over roads like Harbor Boulevard, Beach Boulevard, all trying to do this, making the street improvements that we're making. All of this, it was all driven by trying to keep live traffic moving through the area while construction was proceeding, and finishing this in a reasonable amount of time. A lot of times we get this question, why don't you finish one bridge before you start the next? And we understand where that question comes from. It's out of frustration because your lives are impacted. It's impacted by the construction itself. It's impacted by the traffic congestion. It's impacted by noise, all of these things. And we realize how frustrating it can be. But if we took a consecutive approach to bridges, it would take more than 20 years to finish the project. And that would be untenable. Motorists and residents and business owners would have none of that. So the order was driven by the traffic and the discussions with the cities and what seemed to make sense in terms of a one-stage and a two-stage bridge. This was all negotiated very early on in the project. Probably I think the project has been in the planning and development stages and now construction for about 15 years. So this has been going on for quite some time. So I hope that answers your question. Again, the contact slide is up there. Anything that you need, you can contact us at our project helpline. You can email us. We encourage strongly that you sign up for our alerts. And just a reminder that, again, this meeting has been recorded. It's going to be available in the next 24 hours or so at, again, bit.ly/405 webinar Brookhurst. That's bit.ly/405 webinar Brookhurst. It's the same place you went to register for the webinar. That takes us to our last poll. If we haven't put it up already, we'd like to know how this worked for you, and would you like to participate in additional virtual meetings like this? Again, thank you for your time and have a great evening. Stay safe. I really appreciate it. Thank you.